And we've done it. We have finally reached 100 subscribers, and I can finally start my Total Drama Multiverse series. Hello guys, all 100 of you, and welcome back to the MegaBoy37 channel. This is episode 0, and the reason I decided to call it that is because this is the only unscripted, yes I said scripted, video of the entire series. And that's because this is going to be announcing the entire cast for Total Drama Multiverse, as well as explaining just what is Total Drama Multiverse a little bit. Without further ado, let's get started. These are in alphabetical order by the characters' names, by the way. And their real names, not their nicknames. Unless they don't have real names. That goes for one character later. Now, our first character is from Fortnite, and that's Agent Peely. Specifically, Agent Peely. He is kind of both of these. I should explain. Other cast members as like hosts and just people that are also important but aren't actually competing. While the season cast is people that are competing. Well, he's kind of both of these, but he is undercover competing this season. I'm not going to get too into the details, but I will explain why I chose these. Fortnite is my favorite game of all time. Not my favorite game series of all time. That's FNAF, and we'll get to that later. But my favorite game of all time. And I've been playing it for 5 years, so I had to think, what am I going to do for the character? And at first I thought about my favorite male skin, my favorite female skin in all of Fortnite, which is Beef Boss and Sky. But I felt that those would both, I'd have to make up a whole personality for her, and Beef Boss would just be a joke character. So with Agent Peely, it can be a joke character, seemingly, but also can tie into a lot of the lore. Hello kitty, sorry my cat's in here. That happens in this, because a lot of this lore is because there's a lot of lore in this. The actual game show doesn't even start till like episode 3. A lot of the lore in this is not from Total Drama. It's from like Fortnite and then other places as well, but mainly Fortnite. That's the biggest lore piece. So he's an undercover agent intercepting the game, kind of like Tom in Disventure Camp. We'll get to Disventure Camp in a minute though. But yeah, that's pretty much it for him that I can say for now, but he's a very important character. I didn't want to talk about this one, but here we go. Applejack, specifically Equestrian Applejack, from My Little Pony Equestria Girls. This is a joke character because there was a time, like a year and a half, where I was a full-fledged brony. Now that was a long time ago, okay? But I was a brony at one point. And Applejack and Rainbow Dash were my favorite characters. Oh my gosh, this feels terrible to say. But I decided to add this one because she'll have correlation with our next character. She's part of the season cast and has a mediocre amount of importance in the season. But I just chose her in particular because she was my favorite, and I just feel like she could do more. Sorry, my cat. What is my cat doing? Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that later, but whatever. But yeah, it was either Applejack or Rainbow Dash, and Applejack just has more that would fit the story. And I don't want to talk about this anymore. This is embarrassing. Then we have Ashley from Disventure Camp, Ashley Graham. She's also part of the season cast. And I should say one more thing. This doesn't matter too much yet, but it will matter later. These people are being ripped into the Reality 37, which is the Total Drama reality, from their respective realities, which I'll get into later. And I need to, for some of these characters, I need to emphasize what time they came from. Agent Peely is from Chapter 5, Season 1 of Fortnite. We are currently in Chapter 6, Season 3, but that's important. It's from Chapter 5, Season 1. Or, I'm sorry, Chapter 5, Season 2, not 1. Chapter 5, Season 2 of Fortnite. So yeah, that's where he's from. Applejack is from right after, or right before Rainbow Rocks, that movie. So, oh my gosh, how do I still remember that? Okay, but that's when that happens, but that doesn't really matter for her. And then Ashley Graham over here is right after she gets voted out of Disventure Camp All-Stars. So, She gets voted out, gets dropped off at the motel, and then that's where she gets rifted off. Chris and Chef, I'll go through these, obviously both from Total Drama. I'll go for these at the same time. Obviously, these two are from, oh my gosh, Bumble. Whatever. I'll have to fix. She's messing up my Funko Pops. Crazy cat. Okay. Well, obviously both of these characters aren't in the season cast. Chris is obviously still the host, albeit for a darker reason, but he is still the host. And Chef, let's just say Chef doesn't make it that far, and move on. I don't want to spoil too much, but Chris and Chef are obviously both, at least in the beginning of this season. Gravity Falls is the home of our next contestant, or at least a temporary home during the summertime. Dipper. He is part of the season cast, and this takes place in the school year after his trip to the town of Gravity Falls. That's when he gets rifted in, and that's important because he's already been through like the whole Bill Cipher thing. He's been with Stan, so he's gonna be like he's really into mysteries and like has found mysteries already, so that's important. That's when he's coming, but not much else to say about him without spoiling. Then we have Trump. Now this is another character that can go both ways, but he is a season cast member. I tried to stick mainly to teenagers and young adults, because Agent Peely, we can say by technicality he's only as old as a banana is, even though he's literally not, but that doesn't matter. That's what he can lie and say. Obviously, she's a teenager. She's like 20, so that's close enough, and Dipper is like 10. But Trump is 78, I think. But whatever, it's fine. It has a lore reason for him to be there. He is actually part of the Total Drama universe in this in my story. He's part of that, and he is the president. But yeah, I should probably emphasize I did put MAGA here just because I didn't know what else to put since I've been putting the names of their places they're from. Let me get the My Little Pony off screen. Okay. But this is not going to be a political character. There's no political bias. You'll definitely see there's no political bias at the end of the season. But Trump is mainly here as a joke character and as a victim, kind of. Then we have Sesame Street, just like this one. This is one from a long time ago. I was like 2 when I was into this, but I feel like we needed just a funny character, easy to boot off character, at least at first. And yeah, there's Elmo. This will just be a comedic relief character, and nothing else much to say about him. Then we have Ezekiel, and I should say there are 2 Total Drama characters, not including these 2 and technically him, that make it into this season, and that's Ezekiel and Scary Girl. And the reasons, they both have valid reasons. I'll get to Scary Girl when I get to Scary Girl. But the reason for Zeke is he was mutated in World Tour, and then he stayed on the island ever since. And he was fully mutated, stayed on the island, and was eventually captured. I'm not going to say by who, that's for episode 1. And then he was reverted back to his normal form and willing to compete so that he would be something besides the first boot. I'm not going to say by what, though. Five Nights at Freddy's, we have Fritz, aka Foxy, aka Captain Foxy. The reason I did the Captain Foxy iteration in particular is while he's not an absolute beast like some of the other Foxies, he still has like an actual personality, and a lot more of a personality than normal Foxy. This is the dead body of Chris possessing, or Fritz, who is, no, not Chris, of Fritz possessing Foxy. But in this, I should say, Zeke has just been here. Elmo, it doesn't matter when he got rifted in, and Trump was also there. You'll see why in a minute, in episode 1. Fritz, this was just during a Halloween party, so the maintenance crew had dressed him up in a pirate costume. So it's like the Halloween after he was murdered. So he is part of the season cast. Then Plants vs. Zombies. Plants vs. Zombies has always been again, one of my favorite franchises, from the normal games to the shooter games. Garden Warfare 2 was my Fortnite before Fortnite. I have way too much on that. I was actually in the top 500 of the world at one point at Garden Warfare 2. I'm really rusty now, though. Anyways, I chose Green Shadow for two reasons. One, I needed a girl, because I did actually use a gender balance. There is 11 guys and 11 girls. And two, she already has built-in relationships, built-in personality, and built-in feats, unlike most of the other plants, and also zombies, because there's not really many zombies that I could have done that are girls and also have like a really entertaining personality and would fit into the show. So this is Green Shadow. She is here, and she gets rifted in this doesn't actually happen in PvZ in any of the comments or comics or games or anything, but she gets rifted in pretty much at the end of the world. The zombies have won, all the plants are dead, Crazy Dave is dead, everyone is dead except her. So that's important for her character. She basically doesn't have anyone left in her reality. Then we have OC. Now this, I've obviously put the OC for original character. This is the head scientist. He's part of the other cast, and I'm not going to say anything about him in this episode, but he is a very important character, especially in the first few episodes. Let's just say he's part of the reason any of these people even end up here and down here. So, yeah, he's an important guy, but I can't really say much about him now. He obviously comes from the Total Drama universe, so he didn't get ripped in at any specific time. One of the ones that I was talking about that it's very important where or what part of the timeline they're coming from is Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia. Deku is absurdly strong, easily the strongest out of anybody here. Yeah. At his current state, and will only get stronger as the show comes to a close in October. But this is, and he's in his original outfit, school uniform, to show this. This is Deku before he even met All Might. So this is like episode 1 Deku. So that's really important. So he's like a wimp, he's weak, but he still wants to be as powerful as All Might. He's basically how most of the non-normal My Hero Academia fans view him as. Or at least just non-My Hero Academia fans. Then we have the Amazing Digital Circus with Jax. The Amazing Digital Circus, it doesn't matter too much when Jax comes, but it is relatively recently after his friend Ribbit gets abstracted. So he is going to be in a slightly more depressed state, but he's still going to be himself. And I chose Jax because, one, he's just my favorite character, but two, if you look at the main cast, because I'm not going to do an NPC and I'm not going to do Kane. Trust me, we have enough AIs here with Jax. Well, Jax isn't an AI, but we'll get to the AIs later. But you have, like, what, Pomni maybe could work. Gangle, no. Zubul, no. Freaking Ragatha, maybe, but it'd be kind of boring. And then you have Jax, who would be hilarious on a season of Total Drama. So, yeah, Jax gets ripped in relatively after after Ribbit gets abstracted. Also, Jax is still Jax. He does not become a human even though he is ripped out of the system. That's only because we have no idea what he looks like or even what his actual name is. So that's why. Then we have Arcane League of Legends, and this is one of the darkest characters on here. If you know, you know. We got Jinx. Jinx is a hard one to put on this cast. I decided to keep her because she'd be the most interesting one, but compared to everybody else here, like, he has an ulterior motive, but he seems chill. Her life has been chill. Her life has been chill. His life, not great. Let's not talk about that. His life's obviously chill. His life, not that great, but, like, most of them aren't that bad, outside of maybe Fritz. Jinx has been through some bad shit, and is literally insane and wants to kill people. And that'll definitely come in during the season. So Jinx is not mentally stable. This is also before she meets Vi. So while she's just working for Silco, doesn't meet Vi yet, and as older people, or once they're older, she hasn't re-met with Vi. So she's just batshit insane, and yeah, that's about it with her that I can say without spoiling. Then we have Poppy Playtime, a very recent horror game franchise in terms of horror game franchises. And there's only a couple characters with a personality here. And while I was going to choose Poppy, I've been trying to stick to young adults and children for the most part. And Kissy is just more, first of all, more interesting because it's one of only 2 characters that can't actually speak. So how that'll work in a total drama season is interesting. But second of all, is way younger because she's like supposed to be like a maybe 5, 6, 7-year-old kid, while Poppy's probably like 35 at this point. So I'll put Kissy in the season cast. I don't know why I said that, like I didn't know where I was going to put her before. And then we come to our other character from Total Drama. I don't want to reveal too much yet, so I'm just going to keep it here. And that's Scary Girl. Now, Scary Girl, why would she still be on the island? You'll have to find out, but just know for now that she was still on the island because the actual season takes place after season 2 of the Total Drama reboot. So all of that has happened. Total Drama Island, Action World Tour, Revenge, All Stars, Pocket Sale, Redonkulous Race, even though that doesn't matter. And both reboot seasons have all happened. And this was originally actually going to be a reboot season 3. But she's hanging around on the island, and you'll learn the reason whenever episode 1 comes out. Then we have Luz from the Owl House. You know, if Total Drama wasn't a thing, even over this Venture Camp, at least right now, the Owl House and Amphibia, which we'll get to actually really soon, are my favorite shows of all time outside of Total Drama. And I chose Luz in particular just because a lot of the characters in that show I just don't see working very well with others, and I mean that with like the teenagers, because I mean if I use Hunter, he's just going to be an early boot. Willow and Gus would just be boring, and Amity would be fine, but I feel like Luz is just the best because her personality would, you can see it from the picture alone. This would definitely be fun to have on a Total Drama season. And this is another one where it's very important. Luz gets very powerful and also very confident by the end of her show, but she is none of those things at the beginning. She's just a quirky weirdo. So she gets rifted here before she goes to the Boiling Isles, which is very important. I love how people that haven't seen some of these shows or played some of these games have no idea what I'm talking about for some of these characters, so that's kind of funny. But she has not gone to the Boiling Isles, and this will be the first supernatural thing she experiences. Another person who is in a similar boat is Marcy from Amphibia. Now, I did choose the main character for Owl House, and I've chosen the main character for MHA and Gravity Falls and some of the other shows. But Marcy is just, not only is she going to be a lot more interesting in than Anne would be, but she has a way better reason to be here. So with Marcy, this is right when she just learned that she has to move away, but it's before she finds the Calamity Box. She's just sitting on the sidewalk crying. So she disappears after that. Then we have the 2 AIs I was talking about. The first one is a lot scarier than the second, though. We have Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club. Now, Monica is kind of fucked up, And Doki Doki Literature Club, despite the fact that I've been into FNAF since I was literally 5 years old, Doki Doki Literature Club is the only thing to actually give me like night terrors and make me not be able to sleep after watching that. So because of that, it's become one of my favorite horror games of all time. Just under like FNAF games and like Little Nightmares. But yeah, and Monica is ripped out right after she's already killed Sayori, or well, at least had Sayori kill herself. Same with Yuri, and then Natsuki's been deleted as well. So she's just sitting at her desk waiting for her, and I hate to say this, but it's what she says, her senpai to come back to her on the other side of the screen. So this is after all that, where it's just Monica. Sorry, I was interrupted. Where were we? Alright, In Murder Drones. In is a lot more chill than Monica, to say the least. And I chose him over the main character, Uzi, just because In is one of my favorite male characters in all of fiction. I love his personality. I love his design. I love his abilities, which they're really, really cool. They really shine in the last couple episodes. Like everything from the camp episode onward, they locked in. I love his backstory. I love everything about In, even more than Uzi, way more than Uzi. So, and also I needed a male character, a male AI character to combat the female AI character. So, not literally combat in the season, but you know what I mean. So In is here from Murder Drones, and I love In a very non-homosexual way. I'm not sure why I said that, but yeah, I can't really say much else because I'll spoil. Then we come to our final four, not for the season. I should probably clarify. But our final four members are all members of the season cast. And our first is Spider-Man. Now, Marvel, I considered giving multiple reps. In later seasons, because yes, there will be later seasons, there will be probably other Marvel characters. But this is going to be the Spider-Man, or the Marvel character that I use first. Because Spider-Man, along with Flash, was the superhero of my childhood. However, I wasn't able to put Flash in here because that would just be unfair. And also just break the lore. So I didn't put Flash in here. This is Spidey from 616. I don't know if it's necessarily Tom Holland Spidey, but yeah, it's more of a comic-y Spider-Man. But that doesn't matter too much. There's nothing to say about Spider-Man that hasn't been said 100,000 times, so... And I can't spoil, because this is only episode 0. So, yeah, Spider-Man. And then, from Star vs. the Forces of Evil, this is a show that is slightly embarrassing to say that I've watched, but it's a pretty good show. I do like it. I was going to put a DuckTales 2017 rep over this, but I ran out of male characters and I really didn't want to use Webby, at least not yet. So I decided to go with this show instead and put Star Butterfly in. Again, I would have put Marco, but I was already out of male characters because I like Marco more than Star. So Star Butterfly is rifted in. I should probably say it doesn't really matter. I don't really know when to say Spider-Man gets rifted in because there's so many different continuities. But he gets rifted in at a time where everything's just street level and chill. Not during like pre-in-game, like maybe Spider-Man Homecoming time or something like that. Where he's like just starting out. He's in like his first year of heroing, maybe first 2 years. And this is after the finale. So this is just while Uzi and In are already together. Sin is already dead. That's when he's ripped it out. Can somebody please explain to me how I've gotten interrupted twice when I specifically waited till later in the night to record this so that I wouldn't? It is 10 o'clock at night. Anyways, we were on, I think we had already moved on to Tails. Hopefully that's the case. But we have Tails. Now, I did have a comment on my channel announcement video saying that I should add a GTA, Mario, and Sonic character. And I don't really know GTA like that, so I wasn't gonna do GTA, but I was originally gonna do a Mario character. I couldn't do a boy by that point because I already finished the boys, and I didn't really want to use any of the girls. I thought maybe I considered Daisy. She was in one of the first drafts of the cast, but I ended up saying no to that. But I did manage to keep in Tails because he's pretty plot relevant even in the first few episodes. So I decided to keep Tails in. He is ripped in, just like Spider-Man, it could be at any point. Tails is just, like kind of a character that can do a bunch of different things and then not have any of them be in like a continuity, just like Spider-Man wherever he is. So he can be rifted from anywhere. It doesn't really matter as long as there just wasn't really like a huge event going on. Then we have Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I chose her for 3 reasons. One, along with Sokka, she is my favorite character in the show, outside of Sokka, who is my favorite character in the show, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And then 2, she's blind, which I think would be really funny for a total drama season, because she's blind. And then 3, is that I had already run out of males as well, because she was one of the last characters I added to my final cast. I think the last character was Kissy, and then also Star, and then Toph. But yeah, this is the official cast for Total Drama Multiverse. Ignore Chris Chef and the head scientist. They are not going to be too important outside of the beginning and ends of the season, at least for season 1. But as for the season cast, if I can just scroll here, I hope you'll know most of these characters. I tried to keep in characters like Elmo or Izuku, or especially Spider-Man and Tails and Agent Peely, or at least Peely, that everyone would know, as well as Total Drama and Disventure Camp characters that everyone in this fandom would know. But there are some deep cuts, especially with Hugh, and I don't know if I'd really consider it too much of a deep cut, but you too. At least for this side of the internet, it's a deep cut. But I hope y'all are excited, because I will be, it should say at the bottom of the screen when I edit this, but I will be having the first official episode, like actual episode 1, come out on Saturday at 3 o'clock. And then from there, I'm going to be having an episode come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday for at least the rest of the summer. However, once the school year starts, I might have to knock off Monday for a little bit. But there will be a new episode every Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday for at least a while at 3 o'clock Central Time. So yeah, in the afternoon, obviously, not 3 in the morning. But I hope y'all are just excited as I am, because I've been working my ass off on this, and I think y'all will really enjoy it. And until Saturday, well, actually not until Saturday, because I'm probably going to make a YouTube video tomorrow, but until Saturday, I'll see y'all for the first official episode of Total Drama Multiverse.